Normally, what I teach people is that you should have your funding sorted, or at least have an idea how you are going to sort out your funding even before you begin your application. Because so many people, because they are not thinking about funding while they are doing the application, they go ahead, they do the application, and they make mistakes. Like sometimes when you are doing some applications to some universities, for example, in your application form, they are going to ask you if you require funding for this admission. A lot of people, what they do is that they feel like, if I say yes, maybe they will not give me the admission, and they go and say no, that they don't need funding. What you have done is that you have just disqualified yourself from available funding. Because think about it now. If you don't have funding, you don't have money to fund yourself, and on that form you go and say no, they give you the admission, you still cannot fund yourself. But if on that form you say yes, you stand the chance of getting funding. If the school has available funding, they will consider you for it. But if you say you don't need it, it means that automatically they just remove you. You are not considered at all for it. And why many people don't like to hear anything about this study route to relocation is because of the money involved. Like, it's expensive, and I teach you that there are different ways that you can fund it. Okay, so I was talking about having a funding strategy even before you begin your application, because if you have a funding strategy, for some schools you need to secure funding first before you apply for admission. For some schools you are applying for your admission at the same time as your funding. For some schools you need to apply for admission first before you get funding. Then for those schools where you get your admission first before you apply for funding, it's quite tricky, because they still also have the deadlines for the scholarship or the funding application. So if you don't get your admission early enough, you cannot apply for those funding, because now you missed the deadline. There's somebody that I know that got admission 2 days after the deadline for the scholarship closed. She couldn't apply for the scholarship yet because she needed an admission, a letter of admission first to put in that application. So again, knowing the strategy of what you are going to do or how you are going to approach it is going to help you to plan, so that you plan your timelines, you plan your applications, you plan your documents well in time, so that you can meet up with any funding opportunities that is available. And I tell people that it's important that you go and search the departmental website, like the financial aid website of the school. Some people don't even bother going there, and they say that they are looking for scholarship. You're looking for scholarship. Have you gone into the website of the school to check what financial aids do they have? That was how I found out that University of Waterloo gives parental bursary. So you need to do that. It's very important that you do that. Go in, check. It's a tedious process, I would say, because when I did it for University of Waterloo, I think I checked over 3,000 opportunities. I didn't do it in one day, but I had to check and check and check before I was able to find the ones that I qualified for. So imagine that you are doing that for several schools. I know it's tedious, it's tiring, but then there are benefits when you look at it. So that's another thing that you can do. Check the departmental website. Then again, these graduate coordinators, they call them either graduate coordinators or admissions officer of the department that you are applying to. These people, do you know why they are there? Do you know why they are hired and why they are in that position? Okay, I'm going to tell you. They are in that position to help you and to provide you with support. A lot of people don't use these people enough. Like, these people have a wealth of information. Everything that you need, they have it to give you, and they can provide you necessary directions. You see those graduate coordinator or admissions officer, email them. Some of them will even tell you the kind of funding opportunities they have that's available, or even the ones that is yet to be listed. They will tell you. Let me tell you a short story. My older brother, he has his master's degree from Imperial College in London. Then when he was going to do the master's degree, I still remember, I think I was in my 3rd year as an undergrad then. The plan then was that my dad was going to sponsor him for his master's. Imperial College is in the UK. So the plan was that my dad was going to sponsor him for the master's. this has been a plan from when I remember, from when we were kids, like when we were very young. My dad said, don't worry, when you finish school, all of you, I'll send you abroad to go and do your masters. So when it was time, he finished his NYSC, he applied, he got admission in Imperial College. It was time to go. Okay, Daddy, I've gotten the admission. The school fees and everything was so expensive. My dad says, you know what, we cannot afford it. So best you defer this admission until next year. Let's see how much we can gather in 1 year. So my brother was really disappointed because, you know, it's something that he had looked forward to, the whole idea of going to school abroad. So he went there. Then we didn't even have home internet, was not common. What year was this? I think it was like 2007. I think. So I still remember him going to do his applications and everything from a cyber cafe close to the house. So that day he decided that, you know what, okay, I'm going to email this grad coordinator to tell them that I may not be able to claim this admission because my family cannot afford it. But so he went there to send them an email, and he sent the lady an email to let her know that right now, due to financial constraints, he may not be able to claim the admission. But however, he wants to let her know that if there are any form of any funding opportunities available, if she can let him know, he would appreciate it so that he can apply. At this time, he had checked what was available and he didn't find any. So he just told her that if there's anything that comes up, just let me know. This was 2 weeks to the deadline for you to defer and still have your admission the following year. So I think a day to that deadline, he went back to check his email and was like, okay, today I'm going to defer the admission. But before he deferred the admission, he decided, okay, let me check my email and see if there's any updates. Lo and behold, graduate coordinator sent him a message congratulating him that they had British Petroleum had provided some money to fund one student, and because he had indicated interest, they decided to give him that funding. It was a full tuition scholarship, so they decided to give him that scholarship because he had asked and he had indicated interest, so they gave him the scholarship. That was how he went to the UK to do his masters. It was, nobody expected it. It was unbelievable. Like, how did he get this? Just because he asked and he showed interest. So when something became available, so that British Petroleum scholarship, that one, it wasn't available on the website because it's just like the company just want to fund one student, look for one good student and give them this money. He went there, he did the masters. After his masters, he got a job with the same British Petroleum, and that's how he stayed back in the UK. So what I'm trying to say is that these graduate coordinators, even information that you don't have or that you will not find on the website, like they have inside information and they can help you. Because of relationships built with graduate coordinators and asking them questions, people have achieved a lot of things, including getting admission, even when on the website it shows that you don't meet the admission requirements. Just because you have contacted and you have shown, sometimes like there's nothing that cannot be changed. All these laws and everything that you see that these are requirements, they move. But then you have to show interest for them to move things around for you. If you show interest, they will move things for you. So this person, this graduate coordinator, they should be email them. I've seen people get funding just because they have bothered these people enough that they are now thinking about you, such that once there's any opportunity, the person that comes to their mind is you, and then they will give it to you. Anyways, so that's by the way. Then I also talked about assistantships. Somebody asked me a question that for assistantships you need to have been in the school for at least 1 year. And I asked the person, I threw a question back at the person, like, how did you get this information? How did you gather this information? And then the person said that it was from one school. So you cannot generalize based on information from one school. So this person was right. That was what the school told him, and that is the way that school operates. So the person was right. That's the way that school operates. But you cannot say that because this is the way one school operates, this is the way all the other schools operate. So I told this person that I'm not saying that what you have said is wrong, but this is just the school. I know other people that have gotten assistantship right from the beginning, and based on that, they have used that to go, like, to fund their studies from the beginning. They didn't have to pay anything from their pockets. You need to, so for some of these assistantships too, it's the same thing. You either apply for it with your admission, when you are putting in your application for your admission and you get it together, or you get your admission first, and they tell you they give it to only their students. So when you get your admission first, then you can apply. Once you get your admission, after you've gotten your admission, you can apply for it. So you cannot rule out these things, and you cannot conclude based on information that you have gotten from only one source or from only one school. So check out what are other schools doing. You need to check that out too. Then I talked about study loans. Study loans is a huge one because a lot of people don't believe that that they give study loans to international students. Well, you can either believe it or not believe it, but at least until you have information for you to back it up. So somebody's like, yeah, it's a lie. Even somebody that I know in Canada told me that. You don't see what you are looking for. It's not everybody that is in Canada that is interested in studying abroad or that is studying. So people are limited by their interest, so they don't even have the information. So again, you need to find out again what organizations, like what institutions do these study loan organizations support, so that you are applying to that school. At the end of the day, you need to make informed decisions, because this is the only way to speed up your application process and to do the right thing. You need to make informed decisions, and the only way you can make informed decisions is by getting information. It's not time. So people say I need 2 years. Even if you wait for 2 years and you're not getting any information within that 2 years, you have just wasted your time. To make decisions, you need information, not time. Now, time, you may consider time in the sense that you need time to gather information, but what you need the most to make a decision is the right information. But some people may decide, okay, I'm going to take 1 year to decide. You cannot decide anything even if 1 year elapses, just because you don't have the information, but you must gather information for you to make decisions. So like I said again, with the study loan, you need the information. So that's for that. That's about the whole funding thing. I wanted to address this thing because I got a lot of questions, a lot of engagement on that video. So I wanted to just say a few things and address a few misconceptions that some people have. Because some people will take data from one source and say that this one thing applies to everybody or applies to everything. No, it doesn't apply to everything. Things are different, things changes, so it doesn't apply to everything. Because somebody told you that you cannot get assistantship until the first year. After the first year doesn't mean that other schools don't offer it. Maybe it's just that school. So you need to look for, at the end of the day, look for a school that suits you, that suits your goals, suits your everything that you want. The one that works with you, that suits you. So that's that for the whole funding thing. And the thing is that it's only those people that apply for funding that gets it. You cannot think in your head that, oh, I will apply for funding and you get the funding. No, it's only those people that actually go through the effort to put in an application that gets it. And the easiest way for you to do that is to do that informed, while you are informed. So now imagine that you now have the list of all of these schools that you can apply for admission. You have all the documents that you need, templates, trainings, samples. Then you also have the list of schools that offer application fee waivers. Like, just imagine that somebody have given you all of these things. It just makes your life easy. It saves you time, it saves you effort, it saves you stress, even saves you data. Because just imagine if you have to be running through, looking at different things, it saves you data. It saves you your data too. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of savings and a lot of stress that is taken off you as the applicant, just so that things are easier and it flows better for you. So that's one thing I said I wanted to talk about. I wanted to address this whole scholarship thing.